Today, I'm gonna give a tax refund update for 2022 because there are some things going on within the IRS and they've been releasing some updates on some different things that I think are really important that we share with our audience, along with helping some people get the answers to some of the questions they have, like why isn't the Where's My Refund tool working? And what do all these tax topics mean? And why is my refund still processing? And I'm gonna do my best to answer some of these questions because in this video, I'm gonna cover information on the tax refund delays, explain some tax topics to you, and look at some tax refund spending options, along with some interesting facts and updates along the way. So if all that sounds good to you, then please do us a huge favor by hitting that like button while the intro plays. Hey there, I'm Sean with Life Accounting, the accounting company that helps you save on taxes and build more wealth. And if you like the sound of that, then look up, look down, and click that little red subscribe button for me. All right, let's get into these tax refund updates in 2022 by first setting the scene with number one, tax return processing. Okay, so if you or a tax specialist have prepared your tax return correctly, then by the end, you should know exactly, okay, how much your tax refund is or how much taxes you owe for the 2022 tax year. After that, then you file your tax return either through mail or electronically, and once the IRS has received it, then usually within a few days, you will be able to use the Where's My Refund tool on the IRS website. And this tool will show you exactly what stage your tax return is in, whether it has been received and in processing, or if the tax return has been accepted and has an expected tax refund deposit date, and when the tax refund was sent. Now, there are a few things you need to know when you're using this tool, okay? Number one, when you're using the tool, you must enter all your information exactly as it is, okay? If you have one letter off or one digit off, then the tool will no longer be able to help you locate your tax return status. I've had many clients tell me the tool doesn't work for them, and then I find out later that they entered the wrong refund amount. So of course, make sure you double check that all your information is correct when you're putting it inside that Where's My Refund tool. Okay, number two, again, it can take a few days for your tax return status to show up. So don't freak out if you don't have any status updates within 24 hours. Okay, number three, if the tool is not showing any bars, then please don't worry too much, okay? This has no impact on your tax return processing, and it's likely just a system error or a browser error. Sometimes just by using a different browser, the bars will reappear. All right, and number four, you may see different tax topics. The main tax topics that you likely could see are tax topic 152 and tax topic 151. Now, I have a great video breaking down tax topics, which you can watch in depth after you finish this video. But to summarize now, tax topic 152 generally indicates that you're likely going to receive a tax refund. So that's usually good news. On the other hand, if you are seeing tax topic 151, then that likely indicates that you actually owe the IRS. And in some cases, people will do their taxes, they'll see that they're getting a tax refund, and they're just completely surprised and shocked when they see tax topic 151. And that can happen for a number of reasons, like, for example, you may owe on a previous year's tax return, or you owe another party like maybe back child support, or you owe because there was a significant error in your tax return. Okay, the next tax refund update for 2022 that most people are probably itching to hear about is number two, tax refund delays. So typically it takes the IRS a couple of weeks to process a tax return, but they do expect to have most returns processed within 21 days. And so I ran a poll on our YouTube channel and the responses were pretty split. Okay, 31% reported receiving their tax refund on time, while 34% reported not receiving their tax refund yet, and then 35% reported that they did not plan on receiving a tax refund at all. And so then I assume a good chunk of people out there are experiencing tax refund delays. Now, I have a few reasons that could impact how long it takes your tax return to be processed. So I'm going to start out with some of the reasons that are likely impacting the majority of taxpayers, and then move into some further things that you can troubleshoot on your own. Okay, so the first reason, number one, would be tax law and tax credit changes. Of course, last year we saw tax provisions change that increased both the child tax credit amount and the earned income tax credit amount. And of course, whenever money is involved, there is an increased chance of fraud happening. So the IRS has been a little bit slower processing returns to reduce the chances of fraud occurring. At the same time, some people took advanced child tax credit payments, and that needs to be reconciled as well. So the IRS has been sending out different letters to show how much money they've already sent as a child tax credit. Then there are other cases where someone has claimed a child when they weren't supposed to. For example, as a tax preparer myself, I've personally seen disputes between separated parents where one parent claims the child on their tax return without telling the other parent. And then when tax season hits, that other parent claims the child on their tax return. And of course, that child tax credit is only given to one child at a time. So that's when stuff really hits the fan, right? Like that's when tax returns have errors in them and delays obviously occur. Okay, let's move on to reason number two, which is the Internal Revenue Service. It's no secret that the IRS has been viewed to be underfunded and understaffed for many years. And last year, it took many taxpayers after 21 days to have their tax returns processed, including my own. And I made a video with my dad who used to work for the IRS, and we went through several different forces that the Internal Revenue Service was facing, which you can watch after you finish this video as well. Nonetheless, some of the issues last year that the IRS was facing could be popping up again. Okay, reason number three for a tax refund delay is suspicion of identity theft. So the IRS may flag your tax return if they suspect a possibility of identity theft and hold your tax refund until your identity is verified. And if that happens, usually you will receive a 5071C letter which provides instructions on how to prove your identity. And if you want to get one step ahead of this possibly happening to you, then what you can do is also verify your identity on the IRS website by setting up an ID.me account. Another way to prevent identity theft is to create a IP-PIN or identity protection PIN, which is a 6-digit number that you can use when you file your tax return. This will ensure that no one else files a tax return in your name, even if they have other details about you like your full name, your social security number, and your date of birth. Okay, so that is something that you can kind of control and prevent from causing a tax refund delay to you. But this next one is definitely something that you can control, which is reason number four, using the wrong bank account information. So this is actually something that happened to my wife when we filed her tax return years ago. Okay, she thought she gave me the correct bank account information, but it turns out she was off by one single digit. Well, long story short, her tax refund was sent to the wrong bank account, and it took months for the banks and the IRS to reconcile everything and mail her her tax refund. And this actually happens quite often when people change bank accounts but accidentally forget to update it when they file their taxes. So this is definitely something that you need to be aware of, particularly if you're using the Where's My Refund tool and it says that your tax refund has been sent, but you don't see it in your mail or you don't see it in your bank account. Okay, moving along to reason number five, you filed a paper return. So I'm not going to talk about this one too much, but it's pretty obvious. And this year, even the IRS is encouraging more taxpayers to file electronically so that they can get their tax refunds faster, because of course, mail-in returns take even longer to make it to the IRS processing desk. Okay, and the last reason I have is number six, and it's pretty simple, okay? You owe taxes. So obviously, if you owe taxes, then you're not going to get a tax refund, and you actually need to pay back the IRS. And again, you should know this up front, but remember, there could be some reasons why you see a tax refund, but you end up owing, like, again, you owe on a previous year's tax return, or you owe another third party, like a child support payments, or you have a significant error in your tax return and that's been corrected, showing that now you owe money. Okay, now moving on to something that I found interesting with the third part of this video, number 3, the average tax refund amount for 2022. So this time last year, the average tax refund amount was $1,900. Now, before I tell you what it is this year, I'm really curious, okay? What do you think the average tax refund amount was for this year? If you said D, $2,323, then you're correct. In fact, the tax refund amounts jumped 23% from last year. And for me, I found this interesting because, okay, inflation in the United States have been rapidly growing for many different reasons. And now I'm looking at tax refunds as another contributing factor as to why inflation may continue to grow, because that is giving people more spending power, which increases the demand for goods and likely inflation as well. And so that tax refund has likely jumped up because of a few things. Okay, number 1, the standard deduction amount increased for the 2021 tax year, which is up $300 adjusting for inflation. Okay, number 2, the child tax credit and the earned income tax credit amounts increased as well. And of course, that resulted in bigger refund checks, which I'm all good with. But if you're a new taxpayer, then you should also be aware that state refund checks can be counted as taxable income. Thus, you would have to pay taxes on it during the next tax season. Okay, let's move along to the 5th part of this video and talk about number 5, tax refund spending options. So my question is this, okay? If you're getting a tax refund, what are you going to do with it? Okay, I'm really curious, and if you don't mind sharing, please tell us in the comments section below. Now on this channel, we're all about saving money on taxes and building more wealth. And we talk about all the time how the best tax write-offs are awarded to businesses and investors. Now, years ago, when I got a tax refund, I had an urge to splurge. Man, I wanted to go shopping. I wanted to get new clothes, new shoes, and take trips and everything. But I learned early that I could sacrifice those things that I really couldn't afford and then build assets so that one day I could really splurge. So instead, I would typically save my tax refund and use it for my emergency fund while I was in the process of building my first business. And because I had this emergency fund with 6 months of living expenses covered, it basically allowed me to reduce my risk, quit my job, and maximize my focus on business growth. And by making these sacrifices and building my business, it allowed me to build my wealth to a place where I now have a 7-figure net worth. And surprisingly, now I am the exact opposite. Like, I have no desire for materialistic things like I used to. And that's because I've developed concrete personal values around money and wealth. But of course, I can't tell you what to do with your refund. All I can tell you is that if you have the same mindset that I did and you have that urge to splurge, one option is for you to resist and invest. Okay, so I shared some personal thoughts and stories in this video, as well as presented some tax refund updates for 2022, along with the facts. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like it for the YouTube algorithm. Okay, coming up next, I have 2 more videos that you may enjoy as well. So don't forget to check those out if you haven't already, and I'll see you over there.